Alright, so today we're going to be viewing a scenario where all of South America goes into total war. A quick disclaimer for this video. In order for this to actually work, a lot of countries are going to have to be getting buffs because there's larger countries around and that would probably just be unfair. But I might not entirely do that. Also, French Suriname or Guyana, I don't know what it's exactly called. France owns it in real life, but I'm going to be having them getting independence for this because it's all of South America. We're not going to get Europe involved in this or anything. It's just South America. One more thing. We're trying to. It might seem like a big goal, but we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you could please click that subscribe button, anything's greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so I feel like I don't know. I'm not sure in real life, but in this scenario, Argentina and Brazil have some very large tensions. The thing is, Argentina wants like this land right here, and they also want this right here, but Brazil won't give it up, and this country right here won't give it up either. So, Argentina's going to be starting their own alliance. It's going to be sort of a coalition against Brazil. So, in the first stages of all this happening, it's going to be pretty deadly, but for the most part, not that much countries are going to get involved yet. Alright, so here we have it. You can know where this is going. Basically, Argentina has declared war on Brazil, and, they're just both going to start their fighting, but, Argentina's going to start their fighting right now. So, Argentina would begin moving in some troops in the southern part of Brazil, and Brazil is pretty much caught off guard by this because there's no full declaration of war. They would, immediately mobilize some of their troops in the nearby area, but for the most part, they weren't really able to do that much because this area was on full occupation by the Argentinian army. So over here, we have our first foreign country from these two joining in on the war. Argentina would start to invade this country, and as soon as that happened, bam, this country would immediately join Brazil's side. So now it's just a conflict of total war right now, and they're starting to push in, and this country is way weaker than Argentina, so they'd get pushed really hard. Some liberation over here, not that much for the most part. Okay, now let's see what we've been waiting for the whole time. Chile. Chile is going to be joining in on the side of, this might surprise you, but Brazil. I'm pretty sure in real life, Brazil and Chile have pretty good relations compared to Argentina, because I think they do have some tensions over these Andean mountains, and whatever, nobody cares. So basically, Chile would join in on the war against Argentina, and guess what would happen? Big fighting? Guess right now? If you said yes, you're wrong. Due to this being very mountainous, they don't really have that much fighting going on. But even though I said you're wrong, there's just gonna be a wee bit up here. Anyways, another country joining on the war. Right here. Bolivia? You thought they'd stay neutral? Nope. Joining in. These guys? Nope. These guys? Nope. Colombia? Venezuela? Nope. Yep. Actually, French Guiana, even though they just gained independence, they joined Brazil's side as they more were not aligned with them more. So, as we've seen a lot of fighting going down over here, let's look up at the northern area. Colombia is very strong, so they'd start to push down into Bolivia, and it's not looking too good for them, but they are making a huge push. Yeah, that seems good. This bay over here is very militarized by Venezuela, so they would take that opportunity and start attacking over here a lot. But something, some people don't know, this Pacific coast is very lowly populated due to the terrain, so what they would decide to do, a very smart way, they'd blast through this area as it didn't have much protection at all. As they reached up here, they'd plan with Venezuela to do a joint military operation up here. As at this point, Brazil was producing a lot of weapons to these countries, but it's weirdly start to stop because, they're focusing on Argentina, and they are pretty, I think, evenly matched in a way. By the way, Argentina would take care of this down here, as Chile didn't have that large of, troops down there. But now they're on the coast, and they're starting to be able to push further. Chile does take this opportunity and crosses the Andes Mountains to attack Argentina, but right as they did that, right as something was going good for Blue Team, finally, these guys stomped down on French Guiana, and they continued to move down further. After this, all of Colombia just collapses and quickly dies to them. The wrath from these two countries is very powerful, and a large push is made to connect these two sides, but there's a lot of military right here, so it'd get pushed back, and it would be a fail. This would be a major military defeat for Red Team, but, what are they gonna do about it? What are they gonna do about it? You're trapped because, your allies are up here, you have the ocean, but there's the Andes Mountains right here, and that's not really good ports. And then you have Brazil right here. They're just, super strong. Then you have these countries over here. They're your last hope, but, they're struggling, economically and politically. And they're very unstable. Speaking of which, let's see something. Yep. Venezuela just got a revolution. This revolution would immediately be aided by Brazil. And this, oh no. Now this is bad. They'd start to move down further and further. They'd connect up with this bay. And this would be a major victory for Brazil. The leaders of Brazil, they are crying tears of joy. Red Team, they aren't doing too good. So let's just say they start to move down further, and they complete the connection. These countries over here, they might actually be the weakest countries in all of South America, so they quickly just get swept by Brazil. They do struggle a little bit over here, but for most of all, they're pretty much just pushed in until finally they are just squeezed out of the land and they are destroyed. Excuse me. Anyways, over here, Bolivia is putting on a pretty strong offensive, and just like kind of in World War I, this border right here, not down here, but this border is starting to face some trench warfare. Because this land is pretty marshy and rainy, they're using that to their advantage. But otherwise, it was just looking good for Blue Team, but then Argentina decides to start to sweep through the coast flatlands of Chile. But they don't do that good, as they're not familiar with these specific lands, so they get pushed back hard, and they're in this little deadlock down south. Now over here, Red is having some very good pushbacks against these guys, because the thing about Brazil, they have, I'll show you where their military is. It's around here, just swept through here, so there's some still there, and then a little bit here. But they noticed a gap. Red Team noticed a gap, especially Venezuela before they surrendered. Bolivia and right here and there, all over the place, they noticed this gap, and okay. Do you think they're gonna exploit this gap? If you said yes, you're right this time. Now they officially start pushing in through this gap. This would be this would catch Blue Team off guard by a ton, and they just get really hard strucken by this. Now this is rainforest, this is the Amazon, but still does not do too well with these troops. But they are absolutely flooding troops in, and they start capturing more areas in Venezuela. More rebel groups start to get liberated, and blue team is in need of dire help. But you know where help is? Brazil. Of course, Brazil. These countries all deliver a large flow of troops against them. As they struggle to flee very quickly, just like Napoleon's invasion of Russia, as they leave, they start to die to all of the natural disasters and things happening in the Amazon rainforest, until they're finally caught off guard and they aren't able to retreat any further. You know where this is going? A total of 390,000 troops of the red team are destroyed in this encirclement in the Amazon, which would leave this front completely open, and blue team would practically just walk in. Literally walk in. Now, at this point, Argentina is facing even more political unrest, but they do, finally, after the entire war, it's about like maybe 4 years into this whole war by now, they're able to sweep through Chile and cut them off, but as soon as that happens, they are cut off themselves. Now, this war is looking pretty even. Argentina just had a huge success in the south. Over in the west, not looking too good. But you know what? Remember these lands at the beginning of the war? Each side has been stacking up over here. And as this red team was facing really large amounts of unrest, blue would strike. These lands are insanely flat, and they just start to get swept. At this point, let's just say Argentina's capital is right here. They start nearing towards it, and now they are right outside the capital. Meanwhile, over here, things are not looking good. All of down south over here is completely swept. Colombia begins to collapse from the inside. They start to get attacked from multiple fronts. The only success they have is reaching back to this bay, but at that point, it doesn't matter. They're pushed back due to heavy military operations. And finally, Bolivia, an entire operation going over down in the east, fully surrenders. Some of the weapons are trying to get down to Argentina to help them, but blue team stretched out their navy. As the ships were coming through here, they were cut off and destroyed. All that supplies is now in Brazil's hands, or all blue team. At this point, Chile is starting to get liberated as they quickly swept through. As more troops were being needed over at the capital, they push even further and further. Luckily for red team, they start to push down over here to this river, where at this tiny piece of land they make a huge offensive, and it is very big for such a tiny piece of land. But in Brazil's eyes, their military is too strong for that. They do face some struggles along the way of pushing it back, and for this duration of the war, this part is still holding strong. Now, in a special operation, Argentina makes plans for a bulge over there. They push like this. They think they're almost close, but they don't have enough supplies to stretch further. This side also tried to stretch until they actually did connect for a split second, but they left these lands undefended after that point. They were pushed back, and they lost huge amounts of land. Soon they quickly started losing over in Chile. Over down south, you can see this war is going horrible for Argentina. They're losing huge amounts of troops, supplies, famine all over the nation. This total war is turning out to be a disaster. Cut real quick. All of a sudden, right here, Argentina's capital is slowly in the eyes of Brazil. They start to push. As they push, they move further and further, till finally, at last, the capital is encircled, cut off. It is starved and destroyed. After all of this, Argentina surrenders. Now, let's look at the peace treaty. Alright, so let's put this into detail. Red team lost the war, so there's going to be very harsh borders. First, let's start over here. As you know, Bolivia has always wanted their coastline back that Chile took. And as they fought as one of the strongest on the blue team in the war, they would get their coastline back. And you might be wondering, well, Chile fought on the blue team too. Why don't they get land? Why did they just lose land? Well, over down south, all this land is given straight to Chile, which is very good farmland compared to what they have. Even though it's cold, it's better than what they have, so they greatly appreciate it. Now, over what happened to Argentina, as they started the war, they are broken up. Over here, Brazil unites with this little country down here, but they remain a very autonomous zone. Over here, northern Argentina creates like a ultra-democratic nation. Then over here, this is the party that like started the war in the first place, but now they're humbled a lot and they're going to have to reform a lot of things. Over here, these guys lose this much land. Colombia loses a ton of land. Like before, they were like over here. They lose a lot of land as they fought like maybe half as much as Argentina did. Venezuela loses huge amounts of land as they were like up to there earlier. French Suriname or Guyana and this Guyana right here both unite, and for the most part Brazil got the most out of this, but you know, yeah, it didn't go well for Red Team. They made very bad decisions. One more thing, Brazil would decide to let go of this area that they just took, Paraguay or whatever, and this would slowly but surely start to get more economically valued. And you know, if you want to see a like part 2 to this, tell me in the comments, because as I said in my last video, I do engage in the comments a lot. And you know, give me any ideas. I don't have to make this into a series because I do have another idea for a series, but tell me if you want to keep seeing more of these videos, because I'm starting to get pretty good at it, I think. But just tell me what you guys think in the comments. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. But anyway, yeah, as I said in the beginning of the video, we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so it is very much greatly appreciated if you do subscribe. You don't have to, you can just watch my videos if you want to, but it will help out the channel, and it will help out with its growth. Anyways, see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.